ReZERO is a terrifying series. From each gut-wrenching outcome that our main character faces, to the painful emptiness of loneliness that the series portrays. But what if I were to tell you that there was something more horrifying, awful, and disgusting? You'd say I'm lying, and you'd be right. But there's something way less scary and much more ridiculous for us ReZERO fans. It's some of the strangest and fakest forms of criticisms towards the story we love. Criticism is an integral part of discussion that allows creators to improve their works, and consumers the ability to express a better understanding of the ideas and flaws that go into creation. However, sometimes criticism is focused on intentionally debasing something, rooted in hatred and a clear misunderstanding. Part 1. ReZERO is a harem? If I hear this in any tone that isn't a joke, I will immediately assume that you're not serious. You have either never watched this show, or watched the show but with a blindfold on, and on the subtitled version with us not knowing a lick of Japanese. If you've actually watched the show, you know what I'm talking about. But to step into a little spoiler territory for a novel explanation, we'll have to look at Regulus. Now, Regulus is a character with an actual harem in ReZERO, and through his actions we witness the pure misogyny that this type of relationship represents. Especially with his wives being unable to smile, and being subjects of his little kingdom. They are not lovers to be cherished, but mere objects to be gazed upon. With this, Tappei presents his views on this sort of relationship clearly, and because harems represent a clear power imbalance, brimming with toxicity. It's quite easy to see how ReZERO's story has already gone against this type of relationship already, even just misogyny as a whole. Several times disavowing many of the different forms of toxic masculinity that appear within the show. Namely, episode 13 with Emilie, chastising Subaru for trying to absolve her of her own autonomy. Tappei Nagatsuki takes gender, love, and relationships extremely seriously in ReZERO. And to say that ReZERO is a harem is simply infuriating. The definition of a harem, even in terms of anime genres, isn't multiple women being in love with the MC. It's a specific anime genre where multiple potential suitors vie for the affection of the protagonist. There are several female characters that are in love with the protagonist, but the only actual romantic relationship is between Emilie and Subaru. Platonic relationships aren't part of a harem, that's ridiculous. Part 2. I like ReZERO, but I don't like Subaru. Now, this is more opinionated than a criticism, but the logic doesn't really follow. I mean, it's perfectly fine if you think this way, I guess, but it doesn't really make sense. Subaru is so integral to the story, and many elements of characterization in other characters either parallel or a foil to Subaru's character. To put it simply, much of ReZERO is a specific character study on Subaru, and in my opinion, if you say that you don't like Subaru, it means you essentially don't like ReZERO. I mean, obviously there are many other qualities that are done perfectly in ReZERO, but overall it just doesn't make sense. Part 3. ReZERO is edgy. Now, this is one of the ones that I hate the most. Remember that part where I said if you say this, you watch the show with a blindfold on? Well, let's just say, with this, you may as well have gouged your eyeballs out. To go along with a common perception of the word edgy, it's essentially dark or provocative without a purpose, to the point of being cringeworthy. Controversial for the sake of being controversial. To put it lightly, ReZERO is one of the most hopeful shows out there. Yes, it's a dark show, but all of this is so greatly juxtaposed when Subaru is able to overcome himself and make it past each of his loops. The darkness of ReZERO provides us with intrigue, powerful horrific moments, realism in the world, and a place of contrast when Subaru is finally able to succeed. ReZERO's end goal is not to make you depressed. I mean, individual episodes like episode 15 may leave you like that, but even in the end of that, following episode 15 was from zero, and that's all the story is about. That shows us so many of the beautiful moments of hope in the show. Literally the name of the fourth ending is Believe in You. You can't really get more on the nose than that. I probably don't have to explain much more here, but I'm gonna leave you off with a quote that perfectly explains Subaru.
夫大丈夫。星は希望の象徴だからね。スバルにもまだ希望は残されているよ。
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I recommend subscribing to the channel. ReZERO is my favorite anime, and with the new season coming out, there'll be loads of more content to admire and analyze. So, stick around for more.